going to be lots of 20 rupees. There's going to be lots of 5 rupees in the pool. And they're all over the place. Nothing really has been added or taken away. There's a few minor adjustments. Like, for example, there's a first heart container there in Link's house. One item that I know has been added is a 10 bomb pull, and that is because bombs are possibly something that the uncle can give you. So that's one of the slight changes that have been added, but otherwise we try to keep things pretty pure.
Okay, so you're saying it's still a Four Swords adventure.
It could be, yes.
Had to get that one out of the system. But it looks like they're all off, and we've got is that our fire rod from the uncle?
Absolutely. So the fire rod does the most damage. It does mean it takes a little bit to kill, but we only have 8 shots with the fire rod with that magic meter that we currently have. So they really have to be a little bit judicious in its use. The problem is that because we do not have bombs yet, we do want to try to get some bombs before we finish up the entirety of the escape sequence so that we won't have to come back and do that bombable wall. It's called the hidden room in the escape sequence. So there's going to be some killing of enemies, but you really have to conserve your shots. You only get 8 fire rod shots. There's a few magic things we can pick up along the way. So we'll see what comes of this.
Right, so that means we can use pots or really whatever's kind of at our disposal if we happen to run out of magic. But other than that, you said, of course, we're hoping to find some bombs. I believe that leads us to, 3 chests in that hidden room?
Absolutely. Now, the value of those can range. There's always going to be at least 2 items. There's always a possibility that one of those items will end up being the map. That is, of course, useless because we all know our way around here.
All right, and looks like we've got an early flute tonight, too. Normally, I know some runners can go on a little bit of a chasing spree trying to find some treasure chests to get that flute.
Yeah, early flute is super nice. We haven't done Kakariko Village yet, and sometimes there's some early routing distinctions that will take people away from a normally fully loaded Kakariko Village and to search for things like a bottle so they can check sit kit or a flute so they can make the Kakariko play a little bit more efficiently. But with that flute, though, it kind of heavily disincentivizes that. It prompts you to really want to go there as quickly as you can.
All right, and it looks like Koi is going to be our first to our princess. Help me out here. I can't remember the name of this princess. It's Peach, right?
Get out. All right, so we are rescuing Zelda, but who's doing the rescuing is kind of interesting. We have Tattletale Girl, we also have Phoenix Wright, Cappy Mario, and of course Dark Link. The sprite work that the community does is just amazing. I am impressed all the time with all the work that the community does in on the back end of things. There's 100 plus sprites at this point in time that you can choose from to customize the game. It doesn't affect the mechanics in any capacity, but certainly makes it fun.
Yeah, I believe I recently saw, what was it, a Sprite?
Well, are you talking about a can of soda Sprite? Yeah. Or are you talking about the Sprite Child from Secret of Mana? Because we have both.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, I was talking about the can of Sprite.
So it's called soda because it starts off as a can of Sprite, and then it turns into a Pepsi, and then it turns into a Coke, depending on what armor you.
Ah, yeah, see, that's something I love here. Depending on the mails you get in this game, I've seen everyone's kind of sprites change. It's pretty nice.
So all of our runners are doing well. It looks like Koi is the only one who does not have a bomb yet, but just picked up his and had actually an 8 bomb drop as well. So he went from not being set up very well. Oh, and there's, of course, 3 bombs on that treasure chest as well.
All right, so all we should see that back room then, because it looked like everyone else had merely one bomb, and I believe they would have saved that.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone's fighting. We like to call this the boss of the escape sequence. It's this single rat carrying the key. After this, you don't have to kill anything. So you try to save, one arrow, one bomb, whatever you got to do, one fire rod shot in order to be able to kill that rat.
And just kind of hope it doesn't run away in the process.
Absolutely. And the only thing we've really got, we got the power glove, which is our first lift upgrade. That'll be useful in terms of early routing, one of our 3 keys in order to get our Dark World access early. And yes, let the power glove memes flow through chat. It's so bad. Gotta lift bra. Whatever you guys choose.
All right,
And
so all in all, looks like we've had a pretty good escape sequence with 3 lovely items.
well, let's just
Oh,
call it
make that a
4.
4.
Yeah, silvers. Okay, we had a quick map check. It looks like a regular crystal up on Tower of Hera. One of the 5-6 crystals is over in Eastern, and it looked like the green pendant down in Desert Palace.
And it looks like Zelga's going into the woods.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, everyone else is kind of playing outside.
yeah, Zelga's going to go ahead and go to the woods. Everyone else appears to be checking what's on this lumberjack ledge. It's one of those locations that can really troll you. In order to get that, you have to have not only the boots, but have to defeat the first Aganon boss. Now, hopefully that's not required, but it's a worthwhile check every now and then. Just 50 rupees, though, so Zell has a little less knowledge, but he's a little bit ahead of the straight line game right now. But as you know, in Randomizer, anything can change very quickly.
That it can, especially when you just come down to looking for that one last item to get you into go mode, and it can do its darndest to elude you forever.
All right, so Zell's going to be the one to show us through Kakariko Village. It is absolutely there are tons of treasures. Let me see if I can count them. We have 5 here. We have another 5 in the well, plus Chicken Hut, plus so there's 12 total that we have access to right now. Now, if we get a bottle, we'll have access to another one. We'll be able to at least peek the library ledge as well, and we can also do the racing game if we can peek that and see if it's worthwhile. There's our first little swingy bit.
Yeah, there's a sword. I believe that's called what, our fighter's sword?
Yep, it is our fighter sword. It's our first level sword.
But other than that, it looked like a couple of heart pieces and a couple of rupees. He's going into the well now. I believe there's what, 4 or 5 items in here? Or, sorry, 5 or 6.
Yep, there's 5. So there we go. Oh, Fisher Price, my first shield as well in
More
that well.
rupees and hearts. Everyone else seems to be picking up their first sword right about now. And Relkin following into the well.
Yep. And as anticipated, Zell is going ahead and activating his flute. It does require activation when you come through here. We see all the salutes in chat. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, choose your favorite meme. The duck is amuck. The goose is loose. The pheasant is present. The duck is amuck. Our fast travel method for this particular video game is unlocked. However you want to choose it.
I'm a personal fan of All Hail the Magic Quail.
Everyone has their preferred favorite. Everyone does. All right, and other than that, other than our sword, there hasn't really been a lot in Kakariko Village yet.
Yeah, but looks like picking back up there over on Relkin's side, just some arrows in the chicken hut.
So Library Ledge was just a big 20 that Zell showed us. I think he's going to give us a peek at the race game as well. And if it's nothing, he will save and quit out. See where he decides to go. Yeah, yep, just a piece of heart. Oh, why save and quit when you can flute away?
Completely fair play right there.
We have the inferior boomerang. I don't care what chat says. I'm not with you on this one, chat. Lagarang Strax out of the way. The blue boomerang, however.
You don't like the bloomerang?
See, I'm bad at this game, so when I use my boomerang, I want it to slow everything down.
Okay. That's completely fair. I can't say I'm good at it myself, so. These guys could wipe the floor with me in a race any day.
Yeah, so question in chat, what's the difference between the boomerangs? The blue one travels less far. It also does not sparkle, so it does not actually lag the game. The red boomerang does travel farther, faster. However, because of the sparkles, it does lag the game quite a bit. So it's not great for speedrunning. Truth be told, if you're speedrunning the game, the blue boomerang really is superior. Oh boy.
The single arrow,
Sword.
Master Sword and Hammer for Zelda. That's our mini Moldorm cave, yeah?
That's a pretty spicy meatball there. Karnath, meanwhile, detoured over, came over to Agina's cave, just found a big 20 there, so that did not pay off for. So we are at a position where we have 2 out of our 3 keys to the Dark World. We still do not have the Moon Pearl, which is something we absolutely need to have in order to travel around the Dark World. Let us see what we let's see. Ice Rod
Heart in
Cave
the
is a
ice.
So Zell is now doing a sequence break. He is in this dark room, and it's very, very spooky here. It helps to have a sword because you can see his kind of sword sparkle that he's using to guide himself around the room. You would be surprised how helpful that sparkle is to figuring things out. Without it, it's increasingly difficult to navigate those dark rooms, but this makes it considerably easier.
And that sparkle to the sword, that only comes once you have a Master Sword or greater, is that correct?
Nope, that's any sword will have that sparkle when you're charging it up. It will always show it. Old man did not appear to have anything for us, so Zell is going to climb up, see what we have on Spectacle Rock. We can peek one item, and then we can also get one item, plus have a hint tile ready for it. Relkin is doing something interesting. He's farming up some rupees here. Gonna see, looks like he might be trying to get some money for Zora. Get ready to do a sequence break with some fake football.
I feel like that'll probably be a scam tonight.
Tempered, where is chat seeing tempered? Where? Oh, on the mirror locked edge? Okay. It was too quick for me to see. Thank you, chat, for helping us out there. Meanwhile, Zell likely, let's see, I hope he's heading over to the Eastern Palace area. Going to check the back of Sahasrala's closet. And then also likely check what's going on in Eastern Palace itself. If he doesn't find anything, we're starting to run out of locations in this
And
early sphere location.
yeah, it looks like Relkin's going to the desert too now.
Yeah, everyone kind of is running right next to each other at this point in time. They've caught up to one another. Relkin's going over here to Agina's cave. Quake. Magic powder. Bob. I'm stopping everything right now. I'm doing magic bat. I don't know why I do stupid things like that, but Eastern Palace to me, I want to try to hold off on it. And Zelgadishan looks like he's doing the same thing. We're gonna go do magic bat.
Ooh. I'm always down to see a good fetch quest. Come on, Bat, give us something like maybe a mushroom or shovel.
Looks like Karnath is actually going full on into Eastern though. Who's making the big galaxy brain play today? It's still early. It's not the galaxy brain.
Mirror.
Mirror. That okay. Hey, guess what? I'm going back up the mountain now.
Go to get that tempered sword?
Well, it's the Tempered Sword. Not only is it the Tempered Sword, but it's also Tower of Hair that you can clear out, which is a crystal, and it will give you access to all of Eastside Death Mountain. So this one becomes a no-brainer play at this point.
Yeah, and it looks pretty much that's exactly what Zog's doing.
Hard to blame him. Real hard to blame him at this point in time. Karnath, meanwhile, is doing Eastern Palace. We'll see if he ends up discovering anything at this point in time. But Zell's going to have a sub 20-minute Tempered Sword, and it looks like Koi is also probably going to have that as well. There's our other check. Man, that was quick. I wasn't quite paying attention to that particular map check. I hope our wonderful trackers ended up getting. Ice Palace and Misery Mire are the other pendants. Oof.
All right, so run me down through here, Vitasia. So, if it were you here in Link to the Past, what are those 3 dungeons that you want to see be pendants so you don't normally have to do them?
So everyone has different strategies for that. Everyone wants to see a few different things. Ice Rod has, or Turtle Rock has the most hard requirements. For example, it's the only dungeon that requires the Ice Rod. So seeing Pendant Turtle Rock is nice to see, but we have a lot of superstitious folks in the community who will guarantee if there's a pendant on Turtle Rock, they're going to dive it because the seeds have trolled them enough. They're going to have to go do. Misery Mire and Ice Palace can be a little bit out of the way, and those are later to do. Other things that are more spread out, like Skull Woods, can be helpful. Really, it's all just a mix, and it really depends on what the seed is throwing at you early. Although universally, if Turtle Rock's a pendant, great. I have no problems with that.
Fair enough.
Meanwhile, Zell had to go down to the basement to get the big key. Koi is right on his tail.
Yep.
Sandra is 316 in chat. Nate said Swamp, Ice Palace, and Turtle Rock. You know,
I don't know what we don't know here, chat. I think a mic may or may not have exploded, but I can't say for sure. Meanwhile, Zelga is up here at the top of the Tower of Hera, going to fight Moldorm, or Trolldorm as some call him. Couple hits at the tail with that Tempered Sword, and he is donezo, but that's just a bloopy. Meanwhile, in the tower, it does look like we did find the blue mail. I didn't quite see where. But that's alright. Relkin's giving us a rerun of the tower, so we'll be able to see that exactly coming up shortly, and probably Koi as well. Some arrows and the mushroom requires a big bomb, so I believe that's our 5-6 crystal reward on the Pyramid Fairy. And Zelga giving a run down through Spiral Cave. There's our big key for Relkin. Zelga getting nothing but a couple of bombs there.
Testing. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, welcome back.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. So we had a couple quick kills of Moldorm while I was gone, and looks like we are now over here to Paradox Cave.
Yep, so far just a couple of hearts, 1 container, and 1 piece. But 5 more checks coming up. Another heart. Rupees. Rupees. Moon Pearl.
There's our Merle. All right, that's our access to Dark World, and we're actually doing pretty good for our access now. We have some options that we want to do. We're going to flute away. We'll see if Zell prefers the south route right next to Hype Cave, or if he prefers to start over there next to Village of Outcasts.
And it looks like Karnath is gonna go pay the big fish or something.
This might not be good. Either way, Zelgadizin, though, is going to be making a quick stop over at Hype Cave. So, chat, get your quick guesses in. What's it going to be? Is it going to be a Hype Cave? Is it going to be a Tripe Cave? Money Cave? Love Cave? Come on, let's see some predictions. I always like seeing something with at least, like, deferred hype. Like a shovel or something. Hey,
Ooh,
Ether
Ether
Medallion.
Medallion.
And hey, Cane of Samaria, that is required for Turtle Rock. Not required, I mean, it's required for Misery Mire too, but that's something. So, not a bad cave. I'm going to give that a 4/10 myself.
That's a cane and a couple of hearts, so... I mean, it's a unique item that we're gonna need. I'll give it an average 5.
All right, and it looks like Zell's also going to at least check out what this hint is. I'm not going to go too far in, just he wants to know what this hint is. Just a happy little hint. A unique item is on a tablet. Oh.
Well, I know it's not the mushroom.
I'm actually a little bit excited. That means the book might actually have some value this time around.
Maybe it's
Rude.
Bombos.
Well, keep in mind the way the hint system works. You know, there's always going to be at least one hint pointing to, say, the boots. Karnath finally getting his mirror. Kind of late to the show, but not all that late, all things said. K45 is just a big... So, and Stumpy ended up having the cape, which is great to get before you head up to the north side of Dark World to have to check that bumper ledge.
Alright, and Zelga going in for a good old archaeology excavation.
Man, that's 20 digs. 3, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Almost full digs. Ouch.
You're just like, come on, it's gotta be something good, right?
Nope. Chuck Testa. So Koi actually came over to the Village of Outcast side and says, you know what? Skullwoods is a crystal. I have the Fire Rod. I have Blue Mail. I have Tempered Sword. I'm not afraid of no Moth. So he's going right back to Moth. Oh, the bunny sprite of the maiden is actually mini blind. That was cute.
And looks like Zelga might be maybe following in some steps or just going down to Thieves Town.
Yeah, he's gonna avoid doing anything up in Skullwoods for a little bit. He's going over to Thieves Town. Relkin's gonna show us what's over here on the pyramid. Koi, man, that was quick work.
Yep, that's a dead moth and free compass for it.
So Hookshot was on Lake Hylia Island, is what I'm hearing. So once we have the flippers, we'll have logical access to that. You can get them without the flippers, but man, not only the sequence break, it's a tough sequence break to set up. But Zell did show us the book. We know we were going to get at least one unique item on either the Bomb Boast or Ether tablets. We'll see when or if he decides to get there.
Well, seeing that book leaves me with that eager question of, since we're so early and we're so close by, are we gonna get a ped check?
It's not out of the question. We have the mirror to kind of go back and forth between the worlds relatively easily. We have the book to be able to read it. I would expect if Koi didn't have the book, so he wouldn't have done it. Had he had the book, he would have. Zell, that might incentivize him just enough to go north after he's done here in Thieves Town.
And I mean, Skullwoods is another crystal. Relkin making the hike all the way up to King Zora.
And let's keep in mind, this isn't a completely useless play. You got Thunderbolt coin here, Ether, which we don't know what's required to open Turtle Rock yet. We don't know what's required for Misery Mire, and we're hoping we don't need to ever know. But something we have to keep in mind. We are in kind of an interesting position where two of the three dungeons that require the Titan's Mitt to get access to are actually pendants. So right now, this is a very unusual seed in that these runners are actually hoping for their Titan's Mitt to be their go mode item. All things said, they're going to want to find their flippers. They're going to want to find their bow and maybe even their ice rod and lamp and things like that. Well before they end up finding their Titan Smiths, because that narrows the world down, narrows down their choices and where they can go. They're really hoping for Titan Smith's Go mode, and that's a realistic possibility with this pendant crystal setup.
Right, and it looks like Chloe picked up his first bottle in Skull Woods, although it did have a bee in it. I don't know if I'd want to drink one of those.
Hey, don't underestimate the power of the bee. The bee has some great swag associated with it.
I've heard it can be very helpful. I think some people sometimes use it for the blind fight, don't they?
Yeah, what can happen in the blind fight is one of the bees can actually chase off one of the blind heads, which is super helpful. It reduces the amount of incoming damage, especially if you have trouble avoiding the fireballs, if you don't quite have the perfect strat down for that one. Koi showing us Graveyard Ledge, and it was just a big 20.
And looks like Zelga is bailing Koi out of jail right now.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Zell.
I mean, if my opponent was in prison, I'd leave him there. But I guess they are holding a crystal.
Yeah, I'll kill anybody for a crystal. So I have not been keeping track of items, and I hope one of our trackers. Do we know? I want to say it's going to end up being a map on Blind. Like, I think we already have all of our items. Oh, Blind has an item? Okay, perfect.
And coming to the end of that fight for Zelga. It is.
Almost perfect.
And Arabs.
Yeah, so nothing terribly valuable in Thieves Town, but that's fine. You're gonna full clear it anyway. It's not that much faster go moding it than full clearing it. So relatively quick. It's another crystal. Um, let's see. Do we know? Okay, Turtle Rock is the other 5/6 crystal, is what I'm seeing. So hopefully nothing in the Pyramid Fairy.
The hint earlier for that was the mushroom and I think bombs.
I am going to paraphrase myself.
So,
I don't want to do a fetch quest. All right. So, yeah, C6 Shape House did have the lamp, which is super interesting. That's our logical access through all the dark rooms. So, those are in the clear for us.
and yeah, looks like Zelga's gonna go on up into our woods as well. Probably kill the big bad moth. Hopefully check pedestal for us. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Here's to hoping. Oh, we do have a ped check. Wait, what? Semper Fire Dog, don't tease me like that.
Falcon getting their bee in a bottle. Should I just call it a beetle?
No.
No? No puns? Okay.
Oh, Zelga whipped out the mirror. Maybe. Zell, are you? No, he's not.
Not yet.
Okay, it makes logical sense to absolutely want to kill the boss first, because you never know what you're going to find on him.
Right. I mean, Rando is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
I had a friend who had another saying that was similar. Life really is like a box of chocolates, because if they sit on the shelf for long enough, they rot and turn to crap.
I was gonna say, if it's dark, it sucks.
Anyway, this isn't philosophy hour, this is Rando. And folks are checking. There's starting to be speculation in chat. What could possibly be on the pedestal? Now, we know with Ice Palace, it can't be the flippers. With Ice Palace and Misery Mire, it cannot be the Titan's Mitts. It can be the bow, though. And of course, it can always be the Ice Rod.
Could be the boots. Depending on if that key is not on that torch and desert.
Yeah, it's possible, but I don't know. I wouldn't put money on it just because desert has such a high likelihood.
Fair. We haven't seen Bombos. That could be there, right?
Could be, although I don't know. I don't know. Zell, buddy.
Yes, Zell. Aw, Rupee
just
Horde.
a Rupee Horde. 300. Ped is dead. So this so far has been kind of a blazing fast seed. We've gotten all the right items at all the right time. It hasn't felt super fast, but guys, we're still sub 40 minutes in, and we're already. Zell has 3 crystals.
Yeah.
And Relkin's on his way back to get his 3rd. Koi just got his 3rd. Karnath just got his 2nd. This is going by pretty quick.
And there's not all that many items left to find in comparison.
Well, we already know where the hook shot is, and it is on Lake Hylia Island. So as soon as we get the flippers, we'll be able to get the hook shot. And then there's the bow and the ice rod. And that's kind of it. Boots might be required depending on Desert Palace and, of course, the horrible, wonderful, no good, very bad day that is Torch, Ganon's Tower, Big Key.
Zelga looked a little angry there, probably floating the wrong location. 10 arrows from the sick kid. And Koi will be digging for a little while.
Meanwhile, Zell coming over here, I think he said, okay, that hint for the unique item on a tablet has been too tempting. So I think he's coming down here and he's going to check what's going to be on the Bombos tablet. Now, this is something that is routed in usually in one of 2 circumstances. 1, if you're about to go in and check Swamp Palace, or 2, if you're already routing this together during when you're turning in the purple treasure chest. So going out of your way to check this is not something that most runners do unless, like Zell, you got a hint and no one else got this hint. So if this is our path to progression, this is kind of a trolly place to get it. And it's
Green goo.
so help me out, folks in chat. I think if it's a bottle, even if it's something in it, it's not a unique item, right? Okay, yeah, I didn't think it was unique if it's a bottle of any sort of kind. So now Zell is going
that's
up
what I
here.
was remembering hearing.
It also can't be progressive glove as well because there's 2 of those and they're not unique.
Shovel.
Koi also doing Bombo's tablet. Did Koi check the hint as well?
Might have. Where was that hint at again?
That hint was in Swamp Palace.
Yeah. I don't actually remember if he checked that or not. Boots.
Das Boots.
Now we can really go fast.
I apologize for everyone in their ears. So, sorry.
All right, and that is a cave with a very, very sharp floor.
Yep, 1 heart of damage every time you can get hit. No exceptions. And Koi is using his cape just for the last little bit. And
Ooh, Titan's mitts.
Ooh, okay.
So, help me out here, Vitasia. This is normally a check that a lot of people like to skip, isn't it?
It has its favorites. Usually, a lot of runners try to route that in when they're already going up to check Dark Death Mountain, for example, as one of those checks. So if there's no reason to check it unless it's already part of something you're planning on doing. Now, Zell routed it in. He had the hint that there was something unique on a tablet. It ended up being the boots, which was amazing in and of itself. But routing that in with Spike Cave is great news. I sincerely hope. I think Koi is going to be doing the same sort of double play, which would be amazing for him. That's going to lead to all sorts of progression. We are still only, let me see, we still need bow, we still need flippers, which will lead to the hook shot, and we still need ice rod. But we're getting to some really dense locations now over here. I would still personally have preserved for Titan's Mitts to be my go mode item, but hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That was an amazing play. Zell knew that hint was going to help him out if he could follow it. It absolutely did. Koi's following it too. I don't know how long it's going to take Relkin and Karnath to go up there. I sincerely don't.
Zelga finding out that Ether Tablet is required for Turtle Rock, and he does not have that yet. So hopefully he'll stop by Zora at some point and give him 500 rupees for that.
There's another bee in a bottle and the bug catching net in Super Bunny Cave.
So that's bottle number 3. And yeah, Koi's gonna go into Spike Cave. He'll be happy.
Zell's showing us bonks over to get this one treasure chest, and it is just a piece of heart. Logically, the other 3 treasures in there require the hook shot. Now, he could... I don't know how good Zell is at hovering. He could theoretically try to hover, but when you're only looking for 2 or 3 items and it's locked behind flippers to hook shot, which is 2 of those items, not worth the risk.
Now, of course, I know it's not there tonight, but any other time, is it possible for the hook shot to be on that one check in the hook shot cave?
Oh, absolutely. The logic in this game tries to interpret developer intent for what you can and can't do with the item. So that bonking across the gap, there's actually an intended strategy at one point in the game in Ganon's Tower to bonk across a similar gap to lead to a fairy room. And the only way you can get to it is to bonk across that particular gap. So whenever you see someone bonk across and do those sorts of jumps, that is considered developer intended based on that one jump in Ganon's Tower. So, for example, that particular treasure chest in the Hookshot Cave is considered logically accessible with the boots. Also, to get past the front door in Misery Mire, you can bonk across. So that is considered logically allowable. Hookshot might be in Misery Mire at some point in time for that exact reason.
Okay. So, Relkin is now, of course, showing us Desert Palace. The big key was not boot locked on the torch. It was in the chest surrounded by torches. I don't know the name of that room because I'm slightly newer to a bunch of the randomizers, but
So Zell and Koi are now doing a Mire check, and it looked like it was also Ether Medallion on Mire. It was very quick for both Koi and Zell.
and nothing in the shed. Bunch of rupees.
Oddly enough, the two people that are able to check that right now are both without the Bolt coin. Zell going to be over here doing in Desert short. Koi is checking Checkerboard Cave, though, for just 10 pig stickers.
Relkin making his way right on over to our boss room.
Haven't really seen anything in here for Relkin, and he's just about full cleared. I think this is going to be the last item for him. Bombs were on the torch, so that's one of 2 items available in Desert.
And a heart container. Well, heart piece.
Now, it's a green pendant, so there's one more item that we can get by turning in that green pendant to Sahasrara. We haven't really done a whole lot over in Eastern Palace. Karnath did clear out Eastern Palace, didn't find anything. He couldn't finish the dungeon, but he's at least gotten all the treasures out of there that he could. We are still without the bow, and there's lots of places right now we can check that might have the bow. So it might be a little bit of time. It might incentivize these runners to go over to do an Eastern pod dip relatively soon, just so they can turn in that green pendant, or they might try with that cane. An early dip into Turtle Rock isn't unheard of. Surger pointing out that there was a hint in Eastern Palace that said Mimic Cave was dead, so that slightly disincentivizes going up to Turtle Rock, but not a ton. There's still a lot of treasures up in Turtle Rock.
Yep, and I think Relkin just got a couple of blueberries there off of Sahasrara.
And Relkin is going over to Pod. He says, "This feels like the play. It's a play. We don't know if it's going to be the play, though. Remember, he's still looking for those Titan Smiths."
And I believe Karnath had just come out of what was known as Cave 45 with not much of anything new there.
So the first item in Palace of Darkness was the big key. It wasn't a small key, which means by logic, Palace of Darkness is bow locked. And we don't have the bow, so hasta luego.
See you later. And Karnath finally getting that hype cave check. Koi with their green pendant now.
Where to go now? Palace of Darkness is bowlocked, and it looks like Zell is actually heading over there. I can't blame him for that. Relkin is cleaning out Eastern now. Koi, it looks like picking up some potions. This might be interesting.
Now, what would the significance of Koi picking up a blue potion in this instance be? It's just a safety for hearts and magic, right?
Yes, so I don't know. In my mind, whenever someone's picking up a blue potion, it's a health safety, of course, but it's also a magic safety for certain instances where you think you might run out of magic. For example, it requires your full magic meter, if you don't have half magic, to crack Cold Stare's ice block. So you would want to keep a spare potion around for that. It's very, very easy to run out of magic if you're about to go to Trinex as well. So you'd want to roll, get something in case of that. So when I see someone do that, I think they're going to one of those two locations where there's a lot of magic required. Instead, Koi said, it just happens to be a good time. I'm in between spots, so on to Palace of Darkness, which we'll find out is bowlocked very soon. Now, Big J also points out in chat that it's also possible Koi is setting up to do some glitchy shenanigans that Zell is obviously setting himself up for as well. So both Zelgadison and I believe Koi are setting themselves up for the bottle glitch. How you do it is the room that Zell is in right now is called a super tile room, effectively. So what you end up doing is you're in the super tile room, and as the super tile is transitioning from one locked room to the other, you use a potion. It actually breaks the camera so that when you're in the next room, you're in the mimic room. Now, in that mimic room, the way that is programmed is if the enemies aren't on the screen, they must clearly be dead. But if you're breaking the camera and you can manipulate them to where they're all off the camera, the game thinks, "Oh, they're all dead." Open the door, even though it's yeah.
Now, those are some shenanigans I can get behind.
It's actually a relatively new. I think it's only about a year and a half old or so. Since that glitch was discovered, it's super interesting. When it was first discovered, it feels swag to pull off too.
Well, that's what I always like about speedrunning. No matter how long a game's around for, at some point, someone will find something new. And Relkin getting their boots and finally getting to go fast.
Karnath, the only one who has not gotten those boots yet, in pod right now, and is going to be leaving. I don't think Zell has every single key. Keep in mind, there are 6 pod small keys, I believe, if I'm counting my keys right. There's a ton of keys in pod. Front chest were the big key and 5 small keys. Wow. And there's the 6th key.
Alright, so that means the rest are items. Hopefully good ones.
Yeah, he would really like to see the bow here in one of these next locations. Now, I'm gonna have to see. I don't know. He doesn't. So he doesn't have a compass or a map yet. So, of the 4 treasure locations, it's going to be a compass, a map, and 2 items.
And one of them is bombs.
That's not a great way to start out the rest of the run. Oh, yeah, bow can't be here. Pot is logically bow locked. Right. Right. My fault. Sorry.
And it looks like Karnath might be finally going up and getting their boots. Relkin doing a rerun of the Myron Desert area for us.
Yep. Compass is on Helmasaur then. We absolutely know. Yeah,
Ooh.
Relkin's going to be the first one into Misery Mire. This feels like it might be one of the plays we need to make. Turtle Rock is in play. Misery Mire's in play. I wouldn't do Ice Palace yet because we'd have to sequence break.
Ooh, some half magic for Koi. That's always helpful.
Hey, that's in the Hammer Pegs, and he's doing the Jeremiah loop. He's the first one to kind of be over here. This could be something.
Karnath going through Spike Cave, and shall soon be rewarded for it.
Jeremiah, what do you have for us today? Just some bombs.
Explosives. Actually, I believe we did see a hint for that a little bit ago. Might have been on Zelgar or Relkin screens. That's a early big key for Relkin.
Okay, so one of the items in Misery Mire is going to be Bombos. And he already has the big key, so Relkin actually is making a strategic decision to go ahead and say, hey, just kill the boss. If our second item is on here, then I can leave and I don't have to do the rest of the dungeon. It's a smart play. We don't know how well it's going to pay off. It is logically possible to go ahead and clear this. It is a pendant dungeon, though, so you don't have to kill the boss.
According to chat, there is a bottle in Firelock Mire, so that would be our second item.
So this is an entire waste of time.
Yes, a very fruitless labor.
However, Relkin set up another one of those glitches that we found. Spooky action. Switching those turn blocks without actually hitting a turn block. Don't even begin to ask me how that one works. It's wild and crazy and involves Z-axis and a Zelda game that doesn't have 3 dimensions, so
Yeah, that one was also recently discovered, right? Within the last year or so?
yeah, I think it was last year, right before the fall tournament.
If my understanding of it is that you end up manipulating your... Is it the cane of Samaria that they have to use for that, or is it just the fire rod?
Well, the idea is that in the Canis Samaria, you throw a block and it falls down into a pit when its z-axis is at the right thing. So you're throwing it over some things, but not over some things.
Right.
But then it falls down into the pit, and that changes something in the way your projectiles interact with the rest of the game, so that when you're using the fire rod, it then travels over certain parts of the game and will hit the turn block styles in another portion of the dungeon.
Perfect. Spooky.
Yeah, it's magic. This is a prime example of early 1990s computer programming prowess, ladies and gentlemen.
That or the genius of being able to break it in such a weird way. And Zelga gonna go pick up Jeremiah now. Probably maybe see Hammer Pegs in just a moment for some half magic.
Yeah, Zelga is last locationing Zora. He's avoided it up until this point in time. It's not unpredictable because it's something you don't necessarily want to do unless you have the flippers and you can route in Pyramid Fairy.
Right.
But isn't going to do as much good.
Yeah, I mean, but so far it hasn't hurt him until he needs it for Turtle Rock, since we haven't really seen anything out of Mire. We saw Bombos, but we know we don't need that for Turtle Rock. Zora has the Ether Medallion tonight, Seraph.
Yep, and that Ether Medallion is required to get into both Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. So, quite the required item. Someone in chat asking, so that means we're going to have a classic bow and Mimic Cave seat. No, we did get a hint earlier that Mimic Cave is dead.
Yep, and our Catfish tonight with Base Heart. Purple chest for Zelga, only containing 50 rupees. So, I mean, Zelga has plenty of money to go get that medallion, but I don't think he wants to just yet.
I don't know if he will have a choice. I certainly hope that he doesn't try to sequence break Ice Palace, which would be another potential play for him if he wanted to. Okay, this is actually good. So Zell is on his way. He's going to be he's closing this loop. He's going to go over here, do Pyramid, then do Catfish, and then possibly mirroring over and just going to do Zora.
Okay, and yeah, Koi just went to Zora too and got his Ether Medallion. Half magic over on Karnath's side. And Ralkin running away from the desert. Koi deciding to make the Mire play as well.
That, as we know, ends up being a bad idea, unfortunately. But you can't blame him for trying. I mean, with everything else that you've gotten at this point in time, you can see how it might be illogical.
Yeah,
Link to the Past, Ken. Yeah, Turtle Rock is completable up to the boss at this point in time. We do not have the Ice Rod yet, but it's possible.
So, I don't know. You think we might see a double dip there? Maybe some flip-flops over there in Turtle Rock. Take us back to our hook shot and maybe somehow find that ice rod over in the hook shot cave.
You know, I wouldn't put it past Randomizer. You know, I think we all have kind of a love-hate relationship with the rando because it's just an abusive relationship. Let's be real. Double dipping Turtle Rock so frequently is it's hurtful, and you know you're worth it, and you don't have to take it. So instead, we just watch everyone else take it and laugh at them.
Yeah, I agree.
So while we have a little bit of downtime, Zell is on his way up, and he's going to Turtle Rock. I love that play. I do want to give a shout out, while we have a second, to our trackers, both Semper Firedog and Dawning Arc, doing all the work behind the scenes, making it look easy for us because they're doing an amazing job tonight, you see none of these runners are in the same position as each other, which makes it difficult for the trackers. But they are doing an amazing job. Thank you both so much. You make it easy for us to do our job.
Yep, I can attest. You know, it is hard to keep track watching 4 screens and, you know, help pick up your, you know, when your partner misses something, you have to go, hey, you know, like, Koi picked up another sword, or, like, Zelga got Bombos or something, you know. They make it easy for us. They click the buttons, and we say what they clicked.
All right, so Zell opening up Turtle Rock. Yep, he's on his way. Koi finds the second item and says, "Okay, I gotta leave." Relkin,
Yep.
meanwhile, is saying, "Hey, let's check this pedestal," which we know is done.
A hoard of rupees. But Koi has all 4 bottles.
So Zell, Karnath looks like he's also coming over here. Koi on his way. Start with the small key. And Zell remembered, oh, right, I have to do the long way now because I don't have the hook shot. Feels bad, man.
Man, you gotta hate the long way.
Oh, there's the ice rod.
Next to the big key.
Why is the ice rod always in Turtle Rock?
That's one mystery the world may never know.
Get. Where's Vitor? Get Vitor in here.
So, I have to beg the question of, is Trinex gonna have something funny for us?
He could at this point. There's still a lot of opportunity for items here in Turtle Rock, but we're missing effectively just bow and flippers at this point. Flippers, of course, locking the hook shot. I think at this point I would rather find bow than flippers because flippers is locking out Ice Palace, and I don't want to have to double dip that if I can avoid it.
Got some kind of weird super bunny sprite over there for Zelga. I didn't quite catch it. It looked kind of like an alien, but I don't really know what sprite he has tonight.
Well, I mean, he's using Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney at Law.
I still have no idea what that super bunny sprite is. What is it?
Chat's saying it's the Blue Badger.
Okay.
Would Mimic Cave count as Hammerlock? Yes, it would. But
Mimic is also dead, though.
Yeah, it's dead. So we've had intense separation from these runners for the past 30 minutes. It was 30 minutes ago I was saying, hey, look, we already have 3 crystal dungeons done. And we haven't killed a single crystal dungeon since then. And everyone's done all those. And now all 3 runners are in Turtle Rock. Everyone's in the same spot.
Another key for Zelga. Meanwhile, Relkin is running around the overworld.
And chat making a good point. You know, Turtle Rock is one of the 5-6 crystals. We can now full clear Turtle Rock, including on Trinex. We still need the bow to get the other 5-6 crystal. But if we get an early bow, that could mean that flippers are on that Pyramid Fairy. So there's still some room for some trolls, folks.
Well, it would be on the mushroom off of the Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, yes.
But looks like Relkin's water walking and picked up the hook shot.
That's not an easy trick to set up. And I don't know at this point in time if I would want to do that myself. But there are the flippers.
I was gonna say it beats looking for the flippers, but they found them.
So we are now officially in bow mode. No? Okay.
No. I don't know. Chat's giving me a mixed reaction. I don't know.
That was a clean phase 1 for Zelgadis, and Trinex did not even poop on the floor. One cycled him, which is about as good as you can hope to get it with Tempered Sword.
I'd looked to my other monitor and missed it in 2 seconds. And there's phase 2. Done and dusted. For a map.
All right, so Relkin, because he sequence broke and got the hook shot, he's now going to go over here to Hookshot Cave. So he's going to be the first one to show us the rest of Hookshot Cave to see if the bow is over here. So Zell now going to do these checks. Over here, he hasn't even checked to see what's on this yet. And Hookshot, he's like, oh, I need to go. I need to disappear now. All right, Relkin, are you going to show us some new information here?
Rupees? More rupees?
Oh
and
my god,
that's
the bow! That's super trolly. So, with that, Relkin's going to now do Turtle Rock. I hope. No, don't float away, Relkin! No, what are you doing?
Ooh. Gonna go to Eastern?
Yeah, he's going to do Eastern Pod. He's going to knock those two out. He can't do Swamp Palace yet because he still doesn't have the flippers. So he can't do that. He's hoping that he's going to find everything he wants in Eastern Pod. He's not.
Yeah.
He's eventually going to have to go back up to Turtle Rock.
That is the last place he'll want to go, and that is probably the last place he'll go, and that's where he will find that ice rod. And Koi finishing up Trinex.
Relkin still has a shot because, I mean, he's going to full clear Palace of Darkness. He's already been in Eastern, so he really doesn't have to do a whole lot to full clear that. And after that, he's going to be able to go. Here's the thing, though. Zell and Koi and Karnath are all likely going to full clear Swamp Palace. They are likely going to full clear Ice Palace, in addition to having to do Eastern Palace and Palace of Darkness. And then they might decide to go up there and get those 3 treasure chests that contain the bow. So as long as Relkin goes back up to Turtle Rock after he's done with Eastern Pod, he's still in relatively good shape.
Yep. That's just going to beg the question of if they don't go to Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, I mean they could absolutely do Hookshot Cave, but I am willing to make the bet when you look at what's in good routing. You don't want to make another empty climb up there. You just got the flippers. That's going to have to unlock something. You just got the hook shot. Ice Palace has some wonky, key logic associated with it that sometimes the hook shot's required there. I would say from that perspective, I think it would make more sense to me as a runner to do Ice Palace rather than go back up and do the Hookshot Cave, just because it takes so long to get up there.
Right. Yeah, and Koi just
Man.
gave us a pet check as well, just in case, and looks like he's in Ice Palace. While Zelga runs through Swamp.
Has Koi not seen the hook? No, I don't think he has. I mean, we just saw Zelgadishan make the check, and he saw it was hooked, and he stopped everything. He's like, "Oh, well, we need to get going." They didn't even know that it was there.
And Karnath is gonna go camping with the hobo for some money.
Yeah, Relkin did get the hook shot. It's not showing up on the tracker. He did sequence break away from it, though, so he has not been into Turtle Rock yet.
And that's our second shield of the night.
The gloves is in the sewers. Thanks, game.
I love those hints. Found it forever ago, but hey, did you know?
So Zell also ended up finding red mail in Swamp Palace, so he's armed to the teeth. 16 hearts, red mail, tempered sword, silver.
Yeah, I think Ganon's gonna be easy mode tonight for Zell.
So chat's having a little discussion, and Old Man Vitasia might go on a rant here shortly. Oh, Koi got a hint for Swamp Palace, left side.
Well, that's good. Save him some time there. Depending on what he does after ice. That very nice bomb jump.
Karnath got his hook shot now.
And that's Kana Burna for Zelga. Off of Arcus.
Hey, best Kane. All right, so Old Man Vitasia rant time. So chat, one of the things about speedrunning that frequently people talk about, and it's a valid topic of conversation, is who's ahead. People like to know who's winning the race. And in a randomizer, we don't know who's winning officially until they're in go mode. Until they're in go mode, we really have, I mean, all we can do is make our best guess, because they can do any number of things. Now, I like to use the term saying advantage. Right now in this race, Relkin has a sizable advantage over the other runners because of that sequence break to get the bow. But Zelgadizin is on his way back up and getting ready to get the bow. So even though he may have been, quote-unquote, behind Relkin, I think he's going to be getting his bow directly, and then he will be in go mode, and he will officially be winning. But before we're in go mode, I try to avoid language like this person is winning, this person is losing, this person is. I mean, they're certainly behind, ahead, but I like to use the term advantage because it does not indicate winning or losing. It just means this person has a better likelihood of being ahead.
And that is our bow. Go mode for Zelga, 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 19 seconds.
Okay, now we can say Zelgadison's ahead. I've put away my soapbox now. I'm alright. I'm fine.
Alright, so Zelga is heading over to Swamp and Pod, or not Swamp, Eastern and Pod to do that double dungeon, double dip, and get both of those out of the way, claiming his final 2 crystals.
Yeah, he's set right now. Koi, meanwhile, is wasting all the time in Ice Palace.
Unfortunately, in this game of hot and cold, he is freezing.
As expected.
But that is a very, very quick kill of Cold Stare.
Great strat there. Just knock him into the corner and not let him leave.
Yeah. And our Armos Knight's being finished off by Relkin for a full heart container. That means Zelga will end up with, what, 17 hearts after this? This is a very healthy seed indeed.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Do we know? Oh, Palace Darkness, was it a heart container?
Armos Knights were. Full heart
Okay.
container from Relkin. And Relkin setting up fake flippers again. Looks like they're maybe headed off to ice. No?
Koi is going down to do Swamp Palace without the hook shot. He's thinking vanilla or French vanilla, and it's right there. A lot of runners specifically check Lake Hylia Island, in almost immediately after they do the escape sequence, honestly, because you can just jump into the lake and see it down from the north side. This is one of those reasons why, because the knowledge is just so great, especially in a seed like this.
Relkin running off to befriend our hobo friend over here. I don't know why he's living under a bridge with a tent when he's got 300 rupees in his pocket, though.
Hey, you just living frugally, man. Why pay rent when you live in a relatively temperate zone?
Yeah, I guess so.
Relkin looks like he's probably hoping to find the ice rod before dipping Turtle Rock. We know where it's at. Oh no! Don't fake flipper, Relkin. You're fine. You don't. Okay.
Probably gonna. Yep, Ice Palace.
That's a terrible idea. When one of the 2 items you're missing is the flippers, and you are fake flippering to a pendant dungeon.
Maybe you wanted the hint, and that's it. Nope. I mean, he is looking for the ice rod, granted, and not flippers, but... Still, I'd almost want to wait till I did have those flippers to come to the pendant dungeon to check it out.
Yeah, I just don't think so. I think in his mind he knows the flippers has to be up on Turtle Rock and he's trying to prevent a double dip. Maybe. But man.
Yes, if only he knew it wasn't quite a double dip.
Alright, meanwhile, Koi working his way left side swamp. Karnath is on Lumberjack Ledge.
And I think... Didn't Koi have that hint for Swamp saying left side was dead?
I think he did. Meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen of the randomizer community, I already see some numbers popping up in chat. At 125.57, Zelgadesian is on his way up to Ganon's Tower. We have a little game we like to play here. There are 22 treasure locations in Ganon's Tower that can possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key 1 through 22. Go ahead, get your guesses in chat. If you win or are the closest, if we don't have a winner, we'll go ahead and read your names off in chat. Again,
Fantasia, I see a 23. What does that mean?
That means you lose.
Oh,
Done, sir.
darn. You might have to repick.
Anyway, so Poseidon, have you ever played this? I know this is your first time doing commentary with me on Link to the Past, so please choose a number for me.
So I mean, I've seen a fair number of seeds. I want to say good old number. Let's say 8 tonight. That should get one of our rooms with a high number of chests, right?
Maybe, depending on Zell's routing at that point. I'm going to stick with my traditional number 9.
And looks like Koi found a butter sword somewhere. Probably in Swamp, I'm assuming, or Ice Palace.
I think in Swamp. I think in Swamp, honestly. Oh, Ice Palace? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, chat. All right, so we are just going to be following the number as we're going along for Zelgadesian.
Accidental map check. And we're going right side.
Shimjo asks, who's second out of the 4 if Zelg's winning? The answer is, if you ain't first, you're last. Who cares? No, I mean, we all care. We all do. I don't know, though.
1 and 2 being a rupee and a heart piece. 3 being some arrows. That's Bob's torch, right? If I remember correctly.
That's correct. If you do not get the item that's on top of that torch, it glitches out the anti-fairy at the top bottom right before the ice Armos and leads to what we affectionately call Bob, the glitched out anti-fairy.
Ah. So
He doesn't have a heart of gold. He'll still hurt you. So
4, 5, 6, and 7 being some rupees, a compass, a key, rupees, and a key.
Here comes number 8, your check.
And it's a red rupee.
Koi officially hating himself now.
What did Koi just pick up?
Oh, he just saw where the hook shot was and probably face palmed harder than I've ever seen Picard face palm in my life.
That's fair. And there's number 9 with the small key.
Now we're coming up to the rando room. for Zelgadesian. Numbers 10, 11, 12, and 13. Rando room so called because there's literally no reason to visit this room unless you're in randomizer. So 10, 11, 12, and 13. Nope.
Ooh, 18 hearts, though.
Yeah, this is a healthy seed. This is a very
get
healthy.
20?
I don't think we can because we've abandoned some heart pieces around.
That's true. Maybe we can get 19.
And we're about to say hi to Bob. Everyone say hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
No, he's killing Bob. And Bob just teleports over to the other antiquary.
And 14 with a red ruby. $15, 16, and 17 here. Shovel. Arrows. And big key. Almost right, never fails. And
Number
I believe
17, yeah. Surger 132 with number 17. And I believe also Dirty One 1983 also had number 17. GG's to Surger and Dirty One.
So, Vitasia, do they get any kind of special compensation or reward for guessing it right?
I mean, I said their name on stream. Isn't
Okay.
that enough?
I didn't know.
We used to give out the love and affection of one of our commentators known as Herfy Durfy, but we quickly ran out of love and affection, so we try to budget our gifts now. We have to be responsible.
That's fair. Too much love can be hurtful. Disclaimer. But Zelga is now making their way on up the tower. Meanwhile, Karnath killing off Vitreous. Relkin is in Turtle Rock, did finally pick up their their ice rod, and should be seeing their flippers soon. And Land Mollusk goes down for Zelga very, very quickly.
Yeah, I blinked. I didn't even realize he was already at Landmo too. He is flying up Ganon's tower.
Yeah, you look away for just a split second and you miss everything Zelga did. Seems like he's gone up the tower enough times to know exactly where to put every bit of damage, you know, muscle memory after all of those run-throughs of the seeds.
All right, so Zell, I mean, he's making good time up here. Relkin, all he's got to do is find his flippers. Karnath is in Ice Palace. He has his flippers. He's still looking for that bow. Koi also still looking for that bow. Oh no, Koi's gonna go back to Ice Palace. I'm telling you, that was just a trolley place for that bow.
Yep. And Zelga on that Moldorm fight. And he is down as well. We're gonna claim the last possession? No.
Now, gotta save the frames.
But see, now he just makes chat mad. That's an invalid run. I don't think we can count that any.
No, we absolutely can. Chet, I'm sorry, but your memes mean nothing to us.
Ooh. And time for a geometry lesson with Zelga. I
Very
think that was
nicely done.
a 2022.
I mean, it was very quick. So Zell at 135.30 is on his way off to Mr. Blue Bacon himself. Relkin rage slashed at the flippers. That's yeah, understandable. Koi looks like he's going up as well. I think Zell's already into phase 3, and let's see how many teleports Ganon has. How friendly is Ganon going to be with that?
Quick double hit.
No, he's not being friendly today. He is teleporting all over the place.
He knows Zelga is armed and dangerous.
There's Koi with his bow, finally in go mode. Gets a nice double, and bam, another double. That was perfectly set up.
And down goes the pig.
And Zelgadesian does finish in 3rd place in this community race with a time of 1:37.24. Placing above him, Dwayne finished in 1st place at 1:32.12, and Weighty Words finished in 2nd place with 1:35.12. GG's to those runners, and we have some more finishers coming through, but we're going to hold off on them until we get another finisher on stream. Let's see if we can get Zelgadesian over here on stream. Yeah, joining us now is Zell, I believe. GG.
Hey, GG. Thank you.
Yep, good job there, Zell. First place there on the restream.
I have to admit, I'm at a loss as to how this happened. I hard last location ether on Zora, not counting sequence break flipper stuff. So I'm really confused.
I mean, Zora himself was a little bit trolly, but you weren't the only one who really missed it. You were still making pretty good progress the entire time. What we found was kind of the turning point ended up being that bow. On stream, actually sequence broke the hook shot and went up there and got that kind of with his normal Dark Death Mountain runs, and just didn't do Turtle Rock at that point in time. We were like, no, that would have helped everything. But yeah, that bow in Hookshot Cave, after requiring you to go back down with the flippers to get the hook shot, was kind of an interesting thing that threw some people for a loop.
Okay, that makes sense. I thought after I saw that hook shot, I realized that my run, I felt like the run had died 10 minutes into the seed, because typically I'll always walk to Sahasrara so I can check the island on my way. But I was in autopilot mode and I flew to 5. Otherwise, so I never saw that hook shot until I already had the flippers, or else I also would have sequence broken it and then also gone straight into Turtle Rock with that hook shot. So it's one of those situations where by the time that I got done with Swamp, it was like ice, the one item in Mire, or just go back up and follow the hook shot again. So I figured that was my fastest move.
Yeah, I mean, I was legitimately worried about you for a long time because I thought, do you follow the flippers and still go into Ice Palace with the hints that are there and the 3 items, or do you go up to and climb the mountain another time and risk having to do another check there? You made the right call, but I was legitimately worried about you for a second going to Ice instead of going back up to Hookshot.
Yeah, it was definitely on my mind as an option, especially with the hints. I mean, hints are super powerful, but I'd seen a lot of relatively nice hints. Like finding the hint about the boots pretty early was nice, although I didn't like rush up the mountain like maybe I should have. But all in all, I felt like this run was going really good up to the Titans mitts and the boots, and then after that, I felt like everything had just fallen apart. When, especially like culminating with the last location ether.
Well, to be fair, as far as like ether went, I believe it was Relkin and Karnath. They actually dipped into Mire looking for items, whereas I don't believe you did at all.
That's correct. But by the time I got ether, I had seen a hint about 1 item in Mire, so it was 1 item in Mire versus 4 or 5 in Turtle Rock. So I just went up the mountain.
I mean, that ended up saving you quite a bit of time there in the long run. The early part of the seed ended up being pretty snappy. I think, you were already at 3 crystals by 35 minutes. Things were just kind of bopping along, moving. And then you hit a wall where we were looking for something, anything. You got the boots, then you got the Titans mitts in. I think you actually were the first one to get Titans mitts in Spike Cave, and that helped you out quite a bit there as well.
Yeah, like that. I felt really good that I was thinking, most people have probably full cleared the mountain already because the Moon Pearl was up here. So unless they got that hint from Swamp without a need to go into Swamp, they're probably not going to go up the mountain to get these boots. So I was feeling really good about that. And then the Titans mitts just made it even bigger. But then that was the last thing I found for like half an hour.
Yeah, I believe you were first to find boots. I think Koi was right behind you on that one, and the other 2 were, I think, still dipping dungeons at that point.
Yeah, I think that some people dipped pod early. We found out it was bow locked pretty early, although you sequence broke that because you were like, at that point, I think you were still looking. You didn't know where the hook shot was. You didn't know where the flippers were. You didn't know where the ice rod was. So you're like, oh well, let's sequence break this. Pod ended up being kind of a waste of time, unfortunately.
Yeah, pod was nothing. There was nothing in pod. But yeah, it was exactly that. I was still missing like 4 or 5 items. So I thought, well, it's bow locked, but the bow could easily just be locking my ice rod or something. So might as well just do it.
But thankfully, we didn't have anything trolly sitting there deep in a pendant dungeon tonight.
No, I felt pretty good about even clearing desert. Like it seemed like it was a natural play to just do that right before Eastern and Pod, but there was absolutely nothing. And I never touched ice or Mire, so I'm assuming those had to be entirely nothing as well.
There was a sword upgrade, so I mean, if you wanted butter sword, you could have.
And I think 4th bottle was over there in fire locked Mire.
Okay, the sword makes sense. The reason I left Swamp Palace with an item on the left is I assumed that hint about a sword requiring the hammer was probably the big chest of Swamp. So I figured, I'll just move on.
Actually, I think the sword was over in Ice Palace, but yeah. And there was a hint, I believe Koi found in Ice Palace for left side of Swamp being dead.
Yeah, that's what I assumed you meant. It was ice. It was just the reason I left Swamp when there was an item and I was still really close to running out of locations was because of that. I figured it was the sword there in Swamp.
Relkin trying real hard to get the swag with the bloomerang. Not quite panning
Oh,
out.
there it is.
So Relkin now climbing up. This might actually be a bit of a race between Relkin and Koi. They are both working their way through. They're both on the same path. I think Relkin's going to end up getting it, but I like Relkin quite a bit. I don't think it's an insult to say Koi has slightly better execution, though, so he may be able to catch up some time here. We shall see, though. They are still very close.
Yep, and meanwhile, Zelga, you just really blazed through that tower. Like, you were going through the gauntlet, we blinked, and you had killed Land Molus.
Yeah, that was one of my better gauntlets for sure. There were some rooms that I could have done a little bit better, but honestly, just when you have half magic, silver arrows, tempered sword, gauntlet goes pretty smooth as long as you just kind of get a little bit of RNG on your side.
Right, and red mail and 18 hearts.
Yeah, I
Nothing to
forgot
fear.
about 18 hearts. I
Rampage.
forgot that.
No, Koi went to the left side. He did kind of that. I don't know if it's Dark Magician or Pink Magician or whatever, but he did Hope Chest, then went to the left, then went over to the right based on his key count. Either way, it's going to take him a little bit longer.
Yep, and Relkin into the Armos Knight, so...
Oh, actually, he's
Coming
going
up.
back to the Armos Knight. Okay, so he might actually be there pretty quick.
Shovel, arrows, and then the big key. Relkin is ready to climb.
Zell, can you talk a little bit about that moment in time where, it's been 30 minutes since you've had any semblance of progression, and just kind of the mindset it takes as a speedrunner to say, okay, I got to keep calm, because at that point it's super easy for a lot of people to get frustrated and they start getting tilted because they know nothing seems to be going their way right at the moment. How do you get past that?
Oh, that's a terrible feeling. I was actually just talking to another runner about that today. It's just kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just like, I've always had like this mental thing where I'm particularly kind of like self-critical about my own play, but when it comes to something competitive like this, when you know that sometimes you're just gonna get randoed, I can deal with it a lot better. I can just kind of relax my mind and say, it happens. That's the nature of the game. And it's just, you kind of have to just keep pushing forward. And you can't really dwell on things that went wrong. You kind of have to just try and focus on, okay, well, I'm still, like, I last locationed Ether, but in the process, I was being pretty efficient in clearing everything else in the game. So it still wasn't like a total loss. And obviously, once I got Ether, I knew exactly what to do because I had no more options, really. So there are good things you can take away from situations like that, as long as you're willing to relax and kind of let the game play itself.
I do appreciate your perspective on that. I know that's something I struggle with personally when I'm running and I'm like, I don't want to last location everything, and I throw my controller down. So it's good to have that kind of mentality where even if you last location things, as long as you're making solid progress through everything, it's still beneficial. So it's great advice for anyone else out there in the randomizer community who may also need a little bit of spiritual guidance in order to get through there.
And then I don't know. Let's get your thoughts on this, Zelgo. What was your thought on just the start of the seed? I mean, we got 4 items from that. We got Silver's Fire Rod, and I believe it was what? Hammer and glove?
Yeah, it was a really generous start, and I think part of that is kind of what threw me off at the end, is just because missing Zora and the hookshot information, because I had Dark World access so fast. Like going to Sahasrara to get the powder when I already had the hammer, just it felt like the right play was just immediately go back to the bat. All those early fetch quests, it just always feels like there's something there. So it's anytime you get a fetch quest like Sphere 1, I always think that's like really important to get out of the way immediately. So yeah, it was just really particularly friendly start. As long as you're willing to kind of like let the items lead where you go, as opposed to saying, well, okay, I'm just going to go clear Eastern because it's Eastern. But yeah, very friendly start. I'd like to see more of those.
Right. And I think I said glove and hammer. I believe it was glove and flute.
Yeah, that was it. I think Hammer was like mini Moldorm Cave or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because then you turned around and said, you know, because you had the flute, it kind of threw off that early game routing where you would normally check that Lake Hylia Island, right?
Yeah, I went full on like autopilot, honestly, just kind of flying around to the next location. Whereas normally I make a specific point to check that island, and I just didn't this time. And I absolutely would have sequence broken that hook shot almost immediately into the Dark World if I had known about it.
It'll be interesting to see when you guys start talking in spoiler check if anyone else did it. We know Relkin did it, but he checked that kind of late. Speaking of Relkin, he is done with Aga 2, so is on his way to Mr. Blue Bacon himself. Koi just got knocked down by Moldorm 2. Oh, it's still going to be close. So, any final thoughts while we prepare for Relkin and Koi as they finish up their seeds here, Zell?
I think final thoughts would just be that kind of this was an interesting scene, particularly the hookshot bow scenario with the flippers that you could have worked around. I really wish I had, but that's the big thing. Just GG's. I really appreciate you guys doing the commentary, the restream, the tracking. Really appreciate being able to kind of be showcased on a restream. It's a lot of fun and helps kind of grow the community, kind of show off what people can do. I really appreciate that opportunity.
Thanks for running for us.
App, you're one of the best, Zell. Thanks so much. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in chat, that was Zell Gadesian. If you liked what you saw from him, please give him a follow here on Twitch. One of the leaders in our community here. So always a great time having him on. Meanwhile, Koi finishes his Aga 2, and Relkin is on his Phase 3 for Ganon. Ganon asked, did you get the silvers? You mean the ones you put literally in, like, in the sanctuary? Was
The ones we kind of couldn't miss. And that's Ganon down for Relkin. If he can cross the bridge, he will finish next. Alright, the bridge was stable.
all right, GG's Relkin finishing in 12th place. Official time of 1 hour, 54 minutes even. GG's. Koi is on his Phase 3 now. Meanwhile, Karnath finishing up his last boss. It was an oops all dungeon for Karnath, unfortunately. We'll see if we can't get Relkin in here, followed shortly by Koi.
Yep, and I believe Chad had ended up saying he actually did a blind pull of the pedestal.
Not all heroes wear capes.
That That's true. And our final fates for Koi. Trying to get a sneaky triple, but that third arrow just bounces right on off. But down goes Ganon, and Koi will be crossing that bridge momentarily.
And I believe this is Relkin. Oh, no, Koi joining us. GG's.
Yeah, Robin said he has to go to bed.
That's fair.
But with a official speedrun live time of 1:55:22. That is Koi coming in at 13th place. GG Koi, and of course, welcome.
Yeah, I did all the dumbs. There were actually 2 different occasions in the seed where I thought that I checked my last location and then remembered something I forgot. Like I wasn't feeling it tonight, I guess. Although I imagine the Zora Ether got a lot of people.
Zora Ether got some, but eventually, it did lock out some folks out of Turtle Rock and Misery Mire. And because you couldn't logically sequence break Ice Palace at that point in time because of the flippers, I mean, or Swamp Palace, they're just limited some things to go. I think the bigger troll was once you eventually did Turtle Rock and you got not only the Ice Rod that was in there, of course, but flippers were there, which you had to go get the hook shot for down on Lake Hylia, which then turned around into the bow in Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, I imagine hovering ended up being pretty impactful in the seed for some people, because you could have just hovered over to that bow and skipped that huge double dip.
We didn't have anyone hovering though, at least on stream. I'm sure.
Yeah, it wasn't. I'm not saying it was necessary to get a good time or anything, but with a particular routing, like with the routing that I took through the game, if I had hovered when I was up there in Super Bunny, that would have saved me a lot of time. But there was other routes you could take. Like if you just did the Zora checks earlier and knew about the hookshot, got the Ether Medallion earlier, then going back up the mountain with the hookshot looks a lot more appealing than when I did it.
Was there ever a point in time in the race that you felt like you did something extremely well? You're like, oh man, not a lot of people did this play, or I feel really good about where I'm at now.
Yeah, sure. Noping out of the eastern area with the powder to go check Magic Bat and get in the mirror. It felt really good not to go into eastern. And then checking the hint in Swamp Palace was really nice. Got me to the boots maybe a little earlier than I would have otherwise. But in the end, it didn't matter because I ended up last locationing Ether and the hookshot and the bow.
Yeah, we were a little worried about you there for a while. We were like, oh no, he's gonna do Ice Palace, he's gonna do Misery Mire, he's gonna full clear Swamp. Oh no.
Yeah, I forgot about the flipper checks completely, to be honest. When I checked the big chest in Swamp, I thought that was my last location. And then I walked outside and just stood there for a second because oh yeah, that's right, flipper checks. And then to see the hook shot just sitting in plain sight, it felt really bad. Because if you just did the flipper checks earlier, obviously, then you see that right away. Or if you had done an early Sahasrah play, you typically check that with it. Or if you did a fake flipper early in the game, you see it. And I just last locationed it.
Well, I think part of it, and we talked to Zell about this, is because we got the early flute, there were a lot of that early checking on things while you're in the overworld and moving from place to place, that check there on Lake Hylia or Lumberjack Ledge or anything like that. A lot of that was really kind of negated because you could just flute to wherever you needed to go.
It was still a bad decision to not do the flipper checks before going into both ice and swamp palace. Like I shouldn't have. That shouldn't have happened. That was my bad. I just forgot. Not that it would
It
have,
happens.
saved me that much. Like maybe save me like a spot or two. I still wouldn't have gotten a sub 140, sub 150 even.
Anything else that stuck out in this seed for you?
No, it was really just those locations. I felt kind of bad about the lamp though.
That was what, C-shaped house, or where was
Yeah,
it?
like at the point where I get the boots and then the boots don't lead to anything even in desert. I did desert because of the boots, where nothing was boots locked. But like then at that point I'm thinking like, oh, it's pod, right? Like it's got to be pod. That's why I have the lamp. The lamp has done nothing the entire game, and then pod was completely bow locked. I do feel good not sequence breaking the bow though. That saved me some time at least.
Yeah, some people did sequence break the bow, but they bottle glitch. So there were a couple others. I mean, fake flipping really didn't do a whole lot unless you saw what was on Lake Hylia. Hovering would have gotten you the bow, but we didn't necessarily see any of that on stream. It was just one of those seeds that, hey, if you just follow the logic, I think you were in good shape.
Well, I stayed in logic. I saw last location ether.
I mean, it didn't say you beat perfect, but
No, I bought the potion from the potion shop before going over to pod in preparation to sequence break the bowlock side. But I was gonna do it like if there were 3 keys in the front, so I could find out what was actually bow locked or not. Not to sequence break the bow entirely.
yeah, there was a question in chat. It's like, why would someone go grab a potion immediately before? And I was like, well, here's why.
Yeah, the situation is like, so like if the back of pod was like completely in logic without the bow, but say the big key was bow locked, I'd want to be able to bow lock it so I can grab the big chest and not risk having a double dip if there was 2 progression items in there. But with it being completely bow locked, I was not at all worried about that. And overall, this seed felt really bad for me. Like I'm pretty depressed over this, honestly.
Well, we won't hold you up too much, so you can, get off stream and then go delete this from your computer as quickly as possible.
That's not the seed's fault. I screwed up pretty hard.
Nah, we'll blame the seed. It's fine.
It's all chat's fault. Frickin' chat. How could you guys?
Wow. Chat, you guys gonna take that? Apparently, yes. Yes, they will.
Yeah, they will.
Wow. All right. Well, hey, chat, if anyone wants to follow Koi, he's available here on Twitch as well. Get some good feedback for him there. But thanks again, Koi, for running. Always a pleasure having you on there.
I'll try to do better in the future. No promises. See you guys.
All right. Thanks so much, Koi. Karnath, meanwhile, is at the torture room right now. And if you liked what you saw from Koi or Zell or Relkin or Karnath or any of our runners, give them a follow here on Twitch. It's the easiest way to support your favorite runners. Also, one more shout out to our trackers, Semper Firedog and Dawning Arc, doing all the work behind the scenes. Also want to give one more shout out. If you like any speed gaming, not just Zelda Randomizer, you should follow the entire speed gaming network of channels, speed gaming 1 through 6. We have so many different things that are going on. I think we're about done for the night, but we're deep running so many different things. There's There's Link to the Past Randomizer, Ocarina of Time Randomizer, the Super Metroid Randomizer, the Cross Worlds Super Metroid Link to the Past Randomizer. We're starting up a group for Mario Maker 2 levels, which has cash money prizes for level designers and people who win the weekly speedrunning contests on Saturdays. So you should be a part of that. Follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 for all of your speed gaming needs. There's tons going on.
Karnath now just finishing up Moldorm, going to be heading on up to Aga, and we'll soon have slayed the big pig.
Geometry Mage. Oh, that was
Sure.
that might have been a double because if two balls hit at the same time, it won't actually register the other hit.
Either way, Aga goes down. And into our final Ganon fight here.
And Karnath is even more equipped than anyone else. He has 19 hearts, Butter Sword, Half Magic,
Red
Red
Mail.
Mail.
I think Karnath only ended up leaving behind, like, the digging game heart piece. And Ganon, of course, running away, as he does, over and over.
What's Koi working on over here? He's doing an open seed now. He's timing himself. Koi just having fun. But Karnath didn't quite get the double, but did get the torch glitch.
And down goes Ganon. Did he
Yeah.
fall?
That, ladies and gentlemen, is why that is the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in the world.
Not gonna lie, I've never actually seen that happen.
Yeah, don't count your chickens before they hatch, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh wait, he has to refight Ganon now?
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
This is the ultimate feels bad man. I mean, he's got plenty of hearts. He's got plenty of magic. It won't be anything.
Yeah, and all the seeds that I have seen here on Speed Gaming, I've never actually seen that happen. So, if Karnath is a little angry, I'm gonna say he can blame me. It's fine.
Someone in chat pointing out, Karnath was on another daily restream not too long ago, and he accidentally despawned the top half of Ganon's tower. So he's learning all the glitches.
Okay. I didn't know that's a thing you could do either. I've heard of
It's,
plenty of glitches, but not that one.
yeah, it's not a fun glitch to accidentally stumble into.
Chat pointing out maybe you wanted to kill Ganon again. I mean, it's a possibility. Sometimes you just don't feel satisfied until you've killed that boss twice. However, now Ganon's gone again. And the bridge is safely crossed.
GG. Karnath does finish in 15th place with a time of 2:10:36. Does not lose any places due to that fall. Still, GG. And joining us now is Karnath FD. GG's.
I don't know if I'd call it that, especially with that end play, but thanks anyway, guys.
Hey,
It's okay, you can blame me for that.
You educated people the other night on how to despawn the top half of Ganon's tower, and now you educated people why that's the most dangerous 1x3 bridge in the entire game.
Especially when the door hasn't opened. Oh man, I don't necessarily blame my routing, but my execution was just off.
It felt like kind of a rough night. It was kind of an oops all dungeon seed for you. It didn't help that, especially there at the end, with the flippers being locking the hook shot, which locked the bow, which was up in Hookshot Cave. It definitely had some odd routing there, especially in the second half. The first half of the seed, everyone was just kind of bopping along great, and then it came down to who went into Turtle Rock.
Well, and that's, I think, my biggest problem was when I got the boots there and I went and I sequence broke the first chest in Hookshot Cave. My mind said, okay, you've been to Hook, you don't need to go there again. And, well, that was my biggest.
Yeah, and that's kind of what got a couple of people, is they did go and bonk that first chest in Hookshot. So I think they kind of hit along the same note where you did there, Karnath, of, hey, I've been there. It was nothing, don't go back. But ultimately, like, where most everyone kind of diverged was what they did once they got Ether, or, when they had the chance to go and use Ether Medallion, rather. Of course, I saw you, you dipped Mire, Relkin also dipped Mire. Zelga and Koi actually didn't go and check Zora for the longest time, so they didn't even really figure out about Ether Medallion, so they didn't, drag themselves into Turtle Rock or Mire, so that just kind of like narrowed down everything that they had to do, while you were kind of in a more open state of, plenty of checks that you can go to.
And that was the thing. I was trying to avoid, especially Mire and Ice, because if I can avoid those dungeons, I usually try to. But, I mean, without the bow, I was running out of places to check.
All right. Well, we do have to start getting things finished up here. Karnath, did you have any other final thoughts for this?
Yeah, I figure out good routing, I guess. No, it wasn't a bad seed. I was off my game tonight, but
Yeah, I'll say it was a bit more of a weird seed. I wouldn't blame you. I'd blame the seed on that one.
Okay, I'll go with that. It's the seed's fault.
You can blame me for the Ganon fall since it's my first commentary on a Link to the Past randomizer. So, sorry.
No, no, that's not totally on me. I was impatient.
All right. Well, thank you once again to Karnath FD, Koi, Relkin, and Zelgadison, our featured runners for this daily race. Again, if you liked what you saw from them, give them a follow here on Twitch. Also, another shout out to Dawning Arc and Semper Firedog, our trackers doing all the work behind the scenes. Remember to follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 for all your other Speed Gaming runs. And Poseidon, my good friend, congratulations on your first Link to the Past seed. Hopefully this one didn't hurt you too much.
No, thanks for having me, of course. Like I said last time, we were over in Ocarina of Time. Now I'm here with you in Link to the Past, and it was a great time. Thanks for having me with it.
And man, you supported me so much in Ocarina of Time. I had no idea what I was talking about. Hopefully I was able to, you got a good head on your shoulders, so you know what you're doing. You'll be great in the community. Thank you so much, Poseidon.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
And of course, big thanks to chat, of course. We can't do it without chat. If there's nobody watching, who are we showing?
Well, then I'm just being vain and singing to myself. All right, that's going to do it from us. Remember to give everyone a follow. My name's Vatasia, and there's also my buddy Poseidon. We'll see you guys at the next race. Have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, take it easy, everybody.
Take care, you guys.